Hello and welcome to VU Sports Wired. I'm Ben Weinrib.
And I'm Max Harris.
Vanderbilt football finally has a win this season. We're going to look over the win against UMass. After that, we're going to go on to preview the South Carolina game, go to the whiteboard, and then show off our newest game today, Two Truths and a Lie, before going over to soccer and then cross country. Let's go to the highlights.
Check out the highlights of Vanderbilt and UMass from this past week. Commodores picked up their first win. Here's how they did it. Minutemen and the Commodores, third straight home game for Vanderbilt. Opening TD drive for UMass as Blake Frohnapple throws a 13-yard pass to Rodney Mills. And then, true freshman Wade Freebeck getting the start for Vandy, throws a pick and is pulled there. UMass executing a beautiful fake punt, which leads to a long 50-plus yard touchdown to make it 14-0 Minutemen. That would be the score at the end of the first quarter. Pat Robinette takes a 1-yard run for Vanderbilt's first offensive touchdown of the year, 139 minutes into the season, and it's 14-7. Here you see Adam Butler of Vandy picking up a fumble in the end zone to make it close. Right before halftime, Pat Robinette, a nice jump pass from him there to Stephen Choi to make it 24-20 UMass at the halftime. Now, with the Commodores down 5 in the fourth, Stephen Weatherly blocks a punt, picks it up, runs it back into the end zone. Then late in the game, you see Pat Robinette fumble a snap and throw it straight up to C.J. Duncan, who rips it away from his defender, gets the Commodores inside the 5-yard line. On the next play, Ralph Webb, who ran for over 100 yards in the game for VU, will bring it into the end zone to give the Commodores a lead. After a 2-point conversion, the Commodores take a 3-point lead as UMass gets the ball back late in the game. Minutemen moving down the field. That pass was too long in the end zone. And then to tie the game, a missed field goal and a hug from Adam Butler, our parting gifts for UMass. Commodores pick up their first win of the year, win this one 34-31 at home. Commodores are now 1-2 on the season with a big matchup against South Carolina coming up this week. So the Commodores got a win. How do they build off of it facing a top 25 opponent this week at home?
Well, there's a couple ways to look at this game. The negative way to look at it was this game started about as badly as it could. We saw UMass march all the way down the field, score on a 4th down. Then we saw Wade Freebeck, who started the game on a 3-and-out, throw an interception to no one in particular before going on to let a fake punt in for a touchdown. And at that point, I thought the season was absolutely toast. But then we saw they turned it around. Pat and Robinette got to come in, which was, I thought, an interesting decision. They gave Freebeck 2 drives, and admittedly, he didn't look great. But what do you think about that decision there?
Yeah, the shuffling of the quarterbacks hopefully comes to an end here because Pat and Robinette looks like he once again could be Vanderbilt's man. You see him here, what he did in the UMass game. He was 15 for 21 with 147 passing yards and a touchdown. He also had 35 rush yards and a rushing touchdown in the game. And he really stepped up and proved that he's the quarterback who knows this new Vanderbilt offense under coach Carl Durrell the best. So I think it's got to be Robinette moving forward. And despite some struggles in the first game and what Mason may finally be admitting was an injury, which kept him out of the Ole Miss game, where I still don't know for sure, but Mason's been hinting at it quite a bit. Pat Robinette is the guy to play quarterback for Vanderbilt, it looks like. He sees that job, and we'll see how he handles much tougher competition in the Gamecocks.
Yeah, so there was obviously this strange decision to burn Wade Freebeck's red shirt. I know a lot of the coaching staff thinks he might be the most talented guy. He has the strongest arm on the team. No matter what the decision was to pull Freebeck, Patton clearly proved that he's willing to, or he's going to be the best option at this point. But South Carolina obviously is a much stronger opponent than UMass, who's now 0-3 on the season in a very weak conference. We saw South Carolina took down a very talented Georgia team that had throttled Clemson earlier in the year. So this is, even though they lost Jadeveon Clowney, Connor Shaw, that's still a really, really talented team.
Yeah, Gamecocks. There you see Steve Spurrier there, head coach of USC. They also won a game on a late, short, missed field goal, similarly to how Vanderbilt beat UMass this past week. So interesting how these two teams coming into a game against each other lost games in very similar fashion this past week.
Yeah, obviously Vanderbilt has been better the last 2 years than they have been this year, but Vanderbilt's always been able to play them pretty close. We saw 2 years ago when South Carolina opened the season at Vanderbilt on a Thursday night. They basically won on a controversial non-pass interference call. The final score ended up just being 4 points apart. When Vanderbilt went to South Carolina last year, Vanderbilt lost 25-35. That sounds bad, but they were really coming back at the end after falling back 28-0 to start the game. So they look mismatched. Vanderbilt has always been able to play them close. We'll see if that continues with Patton at the helm and no more Jordan Matthews, obviously.
Fourth straight home game for Vanderbilt. Hopefully they can finish 2-2. If you had told Coach Derek Mason that his Commodores would be 1-2 going into this last of 4 straight home games, he probably wouldn't have been happy. But the Commodores can salvage this early homestand of sorts with a big win, which they could pick up against ranked South Carolina this week. Let's send it over to the whiteboard where we'll check out why Ralph Webb was so successful in the UMass game.
Hi, I'm Virginia Norder, and this is To the Whiteboard, and today we are diagramming the game-winning touchdown scored by the Commodores with a minute left in the fourth quarter. Now this touchdown was made just a few seconds after the incredible catch made by C.J. Duncan. So thank you to Mr. Duncan for putting us in this position. Okay, so first of all, we have an uneven 6-man line with 3 Commodores on the left and 2 Commodores on the right, giving the left-hand side more power than the right-hand side. Now, the whole purpose of this play was to be a blocking play, in order to give Ralph Webb the open space up here to score a touchdown. So how did the Commodores do it? Let's watch. So we have number 53, Jake Bernstein, running up to block the UMass linebacker up there. Number 77, Spencer Pulley, runs up to block the other UMass linebacker. All the Vanderbilt linemen step up to block their guys. Okay. So this incredible blocking gives Ralph Webb this open opportunity up here. However, Jay Woods misses this guy, and putting Ralph Webb in jeopardy. But lucky for us, Ralph Webb illegally held the UMass linebacker down, and the referee missed the call, giving Ralph Webb the ability to score his touchdown. And well, as you guys know, Vanderbilt went on to win the game. This has been Virginia Norder, and this is To the Whiteboard. Now back to you guys at the desk.
Thanks for that, Virginia. We're going to send it over to Allison, who's got a fun new game for us.
Hi, my name is Allison, and this week we'll be playing 2 Truths and a Lie. So for our first category, we're going to look at units. Which have been playing to their abilities and which one hasn't? Your options are pass offense, pass defense, and rush offense. Max?
I think the unit that has been playing the most true to its potential so far, as bad as it's been, has been the pass offense for Vandy. Rush offense has been a lie, not because Ralph Webb has been good, and he will continue to be good, and he will be true to his abilities to say that he will continue to be true. And the Vanderbilt rush attack is not at its full potential yet because Jerron Seymour is not back to his full game. With Seymour and Webb both in there, Vanderbilt's rushing attack will reach its true maximum ability. So I say right now, as good as it has been, the Vanderbilt rush attack is a lie. Pass defense, I hope it's a lie because it's been very inconsistent, including against UMass and Temple, teams that really should be easy to shut down and don't have a full slate of explosive receivers. The truth has been the pass offense. Patton Robinette is not a quarterback who's going to lead a massive, deep down the field passing offense, especially against SEC defenses. So I think the Commodores need to keep it simple with the pass offense and continue to throw passes of 15 yards or shorter, 15 yards at most, and then the pass offense will be able to reach its true potential.
All right, I'm going to argue with you here. I think that the rush offense is definitely a truth. I think that Ralph Webb has been so good that even if you swapped in Jerron Seymour, it'd be pretty much the same production there, since they have somewhat similar skill sets, whereas Brian Kimbrough is all speed and just unusable at this point because he keeps fumbling it all the time. But I think that the pass offense is the real lie. There's so much potential left that hasn't been tapped into yet. Jordan Cunningham has done almost nothing this year, and he was their top recruit 2 years ago, a big guy they brought in who we thought would have a big impact, especially since he actually got to play his freshman year. C.J. Duncan, we're seeing some flashes from him, but I think he could have a much bigger impact. As far as the pass defense, they are so young that it's hard to see them improving much this year. They're doing a lot of things like going for interceptions instead of playing to their receivers, which is letting up a lot of these big plays. And I think, though, that down the road, this could be a very, very good unit because they're all so young that they'll all be together for 3, hopefully 4 years. So I think pass offense here is the lie.
I'm going to have to agree with Ben on this one. With Durrell, Duncan, and Cunningham all being so young, I want to believe that what we're seeing from them now is a lie and they will improve throughout the season. So for our next category, we're going to look at calls. Which two do you think were fair and which one was maybe not so fair? Your options are the fumble return, Patton Robinette crossing the line of scrimmage, and Webb's touchdown that was shortly after recalled. Ben?
All right, so on all 3 of these calls, Vandy got the short end of the stick, but for the most part, most of them were pretty fair. When Weatherly returned the fumble for a touchdown, the quarterback did look like he slid in there in time. Patton did look like he was a little past the line of scrimmage. The one that was wrong was Ralph Webb's touchdown. The man was tackled with about an inch to go before the end zone. And where was the ball placed? A foot and a half from the end zone. Now, I know referees can't really do much about that because they can only do it by half yards, but that is some genuine buck swag. And it's a good thing Vanderbilt scored because I would have been a lot more angry.
I think the lie here is the Patton Robinette stepping across the line of scrimmage overturn, because if you look in the NCAA rulebook, Article 68, Section C, right below the rule where it says you're not allowed to have anchor down on your jerseys, your field, your hats, or the cups that you serve your drinks on in the stadium, it says that the line of scrimmage is a matter of opinion. So if Patton Robinette thinks the line of scrimmage is a little bit further down than it is, so be it.
He did get a 36 on his ACT.
He did play very well. He's a very smart man, and I think he deserved the benefit of the doubt on that one. So that is a lie.
I'm going to have to go with Max here. You know, Patton Robinette is very capable of determining his own line of scrimmage, so we should just trust him. He looked confident while he was doing it, so. And for our final category, we're going to look at our quarterbacks. Who do you think is the truth, and who do you think is a lie?
I'm going to do, out of our 5 quarterbacks, I'm going to do 1 truth and 4 lies. Here's a list of lies for you. Patton Robinette, Stephen Rivers, Wade Freebeck, Sean Stankovich, Johnny McCrary is the truth. There is nothing else that needs to be said.
We're going to both agree on this one. Well, actually, there's a lot of truths on this offense, to be fair. Stephen Rivers, he is the truth. He is not very good. Patton Robinette, he is the truth. Still can't throw past 10 yards. Wade Freebeck,
He may have lied to us this past Saturday.
I'll go three truths and 2 lies. Wade Freebeck is a lie. You can't yank the man after two series. That's just not fair, even if he was throwing to no one in particular. Sean Stankovich, he's a truth because he's just not playing, and that's all he's going to be this year. Johnny McCrary, the biggest lie of all. You cannot yank the man, the savior of our program, the greatest man to walk this campus after 3 series. He completed 2 out of his 3 passes to the other team, but he deserves more of a chance. That is a lie, folks.
Well, I think I'll have to give this one to Ben. Fair evaluation of each of our quarterbacks. So it looks like Ben's the winner here today. Back to you guys again.
That was confusing. I think on the first one I did like 4 truths and 5 lies, and there were 3 choices.
Well, I'll tell you, the real shocker of this show is that Allison picked me to win. I was not betting on that one.
Yeah.
Well, now on to Vanderbilt soccer.
Yeah, Commodores picked up 2 big wins this weekend to finish off their non-conference season. A 1-0 win against Lipscomb on Friday, in which Jenna Inbush had the only goal for the Commodores. And then here you see the highlights from Sunday's big 6-0 win over Chattanooga to close non-conference play. Commodores outshot Chattanooga 47-1 in this game and played 28 of the 30 players on the roster. So an absolutely great taste in the mouths of this VU team heading into conference play with a 6-0 win in that final non-conference game. 6 different goal scorers, 2 for VU. Got 2 goalies in there. And the Commodores open up SEC play this Sunday against Georgia on the road. And Georgia is a team that the Commodores lost to last year, so it'll be good to see if they can come back, start the conference season off 1-0, and they've already topped their win total from all of last year. Vanderbilt has 5 wins. Last year they had 4.
Yeah.
So big weekend for VU, SEC play.
Big game coming up against a ranked opponent for sure. Now, as far as cross country, Vanderbilt just came off a win of the Commodore Classic, where they had 5 actually of the top 7 finishers, and they're now number 23 in the nation, which is big news for the Commodore Nation. They're going to be headed off. Now, this is now 2 straight meets they've won after winning the Belmont Open 2 weeks ago, and this is just more good news, picking up where Vanderbilt football is, leaving behind.
Yeah, a lot of success for some of the Commodore sports teams this fall, as we see the cross-country team getting hyped for their race there. In Vanderbilt golf news, Ben Weinrib won the green jacket. And we're going to leave you with that moral victory right there.
Yeah.
So for Ben, Allison, Sam, Dansby, everyone else who was a part of this one, thanks for watching VU Sports Wired. I'm Max Harris. See you next week.